A significant port strike is looming in the U.S., where over 45,000 dock workers from ports on the East and Gulf coasts are preparing to strike due to unresolved issues around wages and job automation. This would be the first strike of its kind since 1977 and could result in widespread disruptions across the nation. Here's how the strike could impact the American people: product delays and shortages. The strike would shut down major ports that handle more than 68% of the nation's containerized imports. If goods stop being unloaded at these ports, retailers and consumers alike could face major delays, especially with the holiday shopping season approaching. Key items like cars, electronics, clothing, and even food products could see shortages, impacting both availability and prices. Price increases. The strike could also reignite inflation, just as the U.S. economy is seeing a slowdown in rising prices. Shipping delays would increase costs, which could trickle down to consumers. The impact would be particularly severe for industries that rely on just-in-time manufacturing, such as the auto and pharmaceutical sectors. A prolonged strike could also drive up global freight rates, further increasing the cost of goods. Economic and job impact. Every day of the strike could cost the U.S. economy up to $5 billion. Transportation and logistics networks would be heavily impacted, including trucking and rail systems that depend on port operations. Additionally, jobs across various sectors could be affected, from manufacturing to retail, as businesses struggle with delays in receiving critical materials and products. This strike comes at a politically sensitive time, with the upcoming presidential election in November 2024. While the Biden administration has been known to intervene in labor disputes, such as with the railroad strike in 2022, the involvement of the government in this case remains uncertain. Overall, a port strike would have serious and wide-reaching consequences for the U.S. economy, potentially affecting everything from the holiday shopping season to inflation and employment across various sectors. A potential U.S. port strike would have a widespread ripple effect on various sectors of the economy, directly impacting the daily lives of millions of Americans. Here's a breakdown of what it would mean for the country. 1. Consumer goods delays and shortages. The immediate consequence would be that cargo would stop moving through some of the busiest ports, delaying imports. These ports handle over 68% of U.S. containerized goods, including electronics. Items like smartphones, laptops, and household appliances could see delays. Products that are assembled overseas but shipped through U.S. ports would experience backlogs, leaving consumers waiting longer for new releases or replacements. Clothing and footwear. With many apparel items being manufactured abroad, a halt at the ports would disrupt supply, especially as the holiday season approaches, which could lead to shortages or higher prices for winter fashion. Automobiles and auto parts. European and Asian car manufacturers rely heavily on East and Gulf Coast ports. This means both vehicles and essential parts could be delayed, potentially leading to longer waiting times, such as fresh produce and seafood could see spoilage if they cannot be moved quickly enough. This may lead to shortages in grocery stores or higher prices as food supply chains struggle to keep up. 2. Price increases, inflation. With goods trapped at the docks, prices on a wide range of products could increase. Inflation, which has recently been easing, could start to rise again. Key drivers of this would include higher shipping costs. As the strike drags on, shipping costs will rise due to congestion at ports and the need to reroute goods. Companies may pass these additional costs on to consumers. Scarcity. When items become harder to find due to supply chain disruptions, prices naturally rise. This can especially affect essential goods like clothing, electronics, and food. Energy prices. While the direct effect on gasoline or oil prices may not be immediate, any disruptions to fuel imports could cause fluctuations in prices at the pump, contributing to overall inflation. 3. Supply chain disruptions. Many industries rely on just-in-time supply chains, meaning they do not keep large inventories of materials or parts. A prolonged strike could throw these sectors into disarray. Manufacturing. Factories that rely on imported components could see production slow or stop altogether. This would affect industries like electronics, automobiles, and pharmaceuticals. Agriculture. Farmers and food producers who export goods could face delays, leading to spoiled products and financial losses. Ports are critical for exporting U.S. agricultural goods to global markets. Retail. Major retailers, especially those ramping up for the holiday season, could be hit hard by the strike. While many companies have already pre-shipped goods in anticipation of potential disruptions, prolonged delays could leave store shelves empty or push prices higher. A potential U.S. port strike would have a widespread